Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today we're going to be doing a January 2022 budget recap using the printable version of the Budget by Paycheck Workbook from the Budget Mom. If you're interested in seeing that, please stick around. So I wanted to start off our January 2022 budget recap in the monthly view of my Budget by Paycheck Workbook from the Budget Mom. This is kind of the hub of the month, or at least that's how I think about it. I have been trying to put every pertinent thing to my budget here in this spread. So I do have all my bills listed. I have my savings contributions for my savings challenges specifically put down in yellow. I do have appointments in gray. If I have something that I'm going to pull from a sinking fund, I'll put it down in orange. And so this just gives me a really nice overview of the month and helps to try to keep me on track. As you can see, everything is checked off because we are now in February. I'm actually filming this on February 1st. It's not going to post probably until closer to the middle of the month, but I did decide to film it today. And so yeah, everything's been checked off. Every bill has been paid. All my savings challenges have been contributed to, which is good. Kind of skipping ahead, I have my budget tracker for the paycheck on the 6th. I have my budget tracker for the paycheck on the 20th, which isn't fully completed because I'm still currently in that pay period. I do have all of my expense trackers. I have one for my checking, I have one for my variable expenses, and I have one for my cash. And then we get into more of like the meat and potatoes of closing out your budget every month. And the Budget by Paycheck Workbook does have this debt payment plan. I did not fill that out. My intention was to start using it in 2022, but my student loans are currently on hold until May, so I won't be using it until I'm starting to pay my student loans in the second half of the year. So that's why this is blank. I did have a goal for myself to start figuring out my net worth. I've never figured out my net worth before, and I do think it could be a very positive or motivating number, especially for me in my current situation. Even though I didn't know my net worth, I knew it would be in the positive because I don't own a home. So, and my only debt is my student loans. So I thought it would be a positive number for me, something that could keep me motivated, which is why I figured it out. As you can see, I did block off my assets. I don't mind sharing the total at all. And there are even some things that are listed in here that I don't mind sharing the totals for, but there are a couple things I'd prefer to keep a little private. So I did do this yesterday on the 31st. And so I added up all of my assets and it equaled to $220,781.87. And then, as I said, my only liability are my student loans, which are $44,970.88. So by figuring out my net worth, I just need to subtract my liabilities from my assets, and that left me with a net worth of $175,810.99, which is very, very cool. I didn't fill out this box because I did not figure out my net worth last month. So this area here is something I will be able to start filling out from this point moving forward. So this is my first time figuring this out. It was not hard to do, which was great. I also don't have a very complicated financial picture right now because I only have one debt and I don't own a home. So I think that made it a lot easier for myself, but it was really cool seeing this number, and I think it'll be really interesting to see this number growing over the next couple months or until I purchase a home. So moving forward, we do get to my favorite part of the budget recap, which is the Where Did My Money Go worksheets. So these to me are such an important part of doing your budget. And I did not always utilize these to their best ability, but I have been for the last little while, and I really do think it gives you almost like a reality check into your budget and into how you're spending your money, even more so than the budget, the paycheck budget trackers. Like those are really great for trying to keep yourself on track throughout the month, and I think they're very important, but this is really where you get to see if things went like you wanted. And so this sheet is new in the most recent version of the Budget by Paycheck workbook. The Budget Mom did switch up how we figure out our income and creating a separate kind of situation, which she calls inflow. And so that's part of the reason why I wanted to purchase this printable version, was to kind of have this update, because I thought it would be really interesting. So for the top section, it wants you to put in your starting balance, which is what you had in your checking accounts and in cash that you rolled over from December 2021 into January 2022. For me, that was $585.27. Your earned income, which for me was just my paychecks, and that was $6,095.52. Other income, which for me, I think I had a couple of refunds for items, and that might have been it. Let's just take a look, because I think I had, okay, so I sold something on Instagram. I had a couple of refunds, and then I had a Christmas gift that I got in cash. So all of that together equaled $151.96. I didn't use any savings in the month of January, and so all of that added up together equaled $6,832.75, which was my total monthly inflow. Now, getting down into the actual budget categories, I figure out my monthly budget totals because of how I budget per paycheck. So I generally get 2 paychecks in a month, and for some of these things, like my variable expenses in the beginning, I do budget per paycheck. And so all I do to figure out my monthly budget is just multiply that number by 2. So in each of my budget with me's, you'll see that I budget $200 for groceries. And so if I multiply that by 2, I get $400. 75 for eating out, 75 for gas, multiply by 2, that's $150, and then I do $150 for miscellaneous, multiply by 2, that's $300. I never set a monthly budget for miscellaneous bills. My savings goal is always to save about $3,000 a month. For utilities, I just added up what my utilities usually are. They have changed a little bit, which is why my actual spent is a little less, but this is a pretty good number to budget for me. My housing never changes, that's just my rent. And then my giving, I had always set to 20 because that's what I knew I was contributing to my church every month. That I certainly can change a little bit moving forward, because I am making giving a little bit more of a priority this year. So that's how I figure out my monthly budget totals. My monthly spent is what I get from my actual expense trackers. So as you saw, I have all of my expense trackers here, and I do highlight them, so that way when it comes to adding everything up at the end of the month, it is a lot easier for me to get these totals. So I also put in the difference here in what I spent from what my budget was, and I mark off in green or red if I was under or over my budget. So for groceries, I should preface all of this by saying that I totally calculated this wrong the first time through. I actually messed up my total for my groceries. The reason why was because when I was adding all my groceries up, I added in $47.99. I just went down this row and I added in $47.99, even though that wasn't a purchase. That was me just transferring cash out of that checking account. So I was off by $47.99. I was like, why am I off? That's so weird. And I was over budget in my groceries, and I was so surprised about that I ended up going back and recalculating and realized exactly where my error was. So initially I had this wrong, but I was able to figure out where my error was. So I was actually under budget by almost $40 for the month of January, which was great. I did go over my eating out budget, which was really a little bit of a bummer, to be totally honest. I did participate in a no spend this month, and I did give myself the ability to have Soul Bowl, which is a treat that I get for myself once a month, or once a week, and I did do that. But I did have a situation where I ended up getting some takeout, and I ended up ordering or picking up a bunch of wine, and I took it as an eating out instead of a miscellaneous expense, because I felt like that made more sense. And so it ended up putting me over budget. So I was over budget by $42.63 for that. For gas, I was under budget by $19, which is great. Gas is one of those categories that I ended up increasing from 2021 to 2022. My monthly budget for gas used to be $100. I would budget $50 a pay period. But given that gas prices have been going up, I did up that, and it worked out well for me. For miscellaneous, my monthly budget is $300, and I did only spend $220.02. So I was under budget by $79.98, which I'm really, really happy about. Big part of that was the fact that I was doing a no spend this month. Miscellaneous bills, again, this is stuff that I know is coming, or I know I need cash for, but it doesn't really fit into any other category. And so I did spend $245.79 in that category this month. And so most of it was an appointment that I had for, which came to $195. And then I did do a giveaway on my Instagram. So that was it. That was the only two things. So most of it was an appointment. And so I knew I had that coming up. It was marked in my monthly view. Let's see. I had it marked in my monthly view here. And so, yeah, it was an expensive appointment. So it was actually more expensive than I thought it was going to be. But anyways, that was what that was for. For savings, so I said that my savings goal is always to save at least $3,000, and I did go over that this month, which is great. I saved over $4,000, so I was over budget by $1,116.88, which, if there's any category you want to be over budget in, it is savings. For utilities, I was actually under budget by $32. This category is kind of in flux. My cell phone bill did go down. This month, my cable bill, which is like my home phone, my internet, and my television, did go up. But I did mention in one of my budget with me's, I think, that I called them, and so it should be going down for the month of February. So who knows exactly where we're going to end up, but this month I was under budget, fortunately. Housing is just my rent, which I'm usually right on the money for. And then for giving, I did talk about the fact that I want giving to be more of a priority for myself, and I am going to be posting here on YouTube and on Instagram monthly charities that I want to give to, and allowing there to be a poll so that you all can have a little bit of input into where I make my monthly donations. The charities will be changing every month. For the month of January, I did end up donating to a charity that is working against child sex trafficking and human trafficking, because January was Human and Child Sex Trafficking Awareness Month. So that was really great to be able to do that. And I did donate to another charity in memory of someone, and so my giving total was $182. So I was over budget by $162, which I'm totally okay with. The next most important thing that you include in this Where Did My Money Go worksheet, this monthly budget category breakdown, is your starting balance for the coming month. The reason why that's so important is because the Budget Mom's whole thing is based on a zero-based budget, meaning the money that you have come in minus the money you have going out should equal to zero. And so if you don't include how much money you're rolling over into the next month, it's not going to be even. You're not going to get that zero-based budget. So with the February starting balances for me is how much money I have in my checking accounts and in cash that I'm moving from January 31st to February 1st. And so that's basically going to be your ending balance on all of your expense trackers. So for my checking account, that's $271.38. For my variable expense checking account, it's $29.63. And for my cash, it's $80. So if I add all of that up, that gives me the $381.01. That is my February starting balance. If I add up all of these totals, including that February starting balance, my total comes to $6,832.75, which equals my inflow. Those two numbers should absolutely match each other, and that's why I was off by $0 in this budget. If we move forward to the monthly debt and savings breakdown, again, this is a category, or a page I should say, where I'm only using half of it right now, and that's because I'm not currently paying on any debt. Now, this is another little bit of a change with regards to the workbook. So if you take a look at the debt section here, it wants you to base everything off of your total inflow versus savings, which wants you to base it off of your monthly income. So that's a little bit of a change, and I think the reason that the budget mom did that is because she wants you to be figuring out your percent of income saved based on your actual income and not your inflow, because your inflow could include savings that you used. So I think that was the reasoning, or part of the reasoning behind that change. So for me, my total monthly income was $6,247.48. Now, I hope I figured that out right. I did include my earned income and then other income together. And so that's how I got that amount. My total monthly saved was $4,116.88. And so my percent of income saved was 65.9%, which is, I think, probably the highest percentage I have ever saved, which is really, really exciting. It does give you the opportunity to break that down, and I think that that's really important because you want to make sure that your breakdown matches your financial goals. For me, my number one goal is saving for a house, and so the majority of my savings should be going there. I would say my next most important is my sinking funds, and so that should be the next highest amount that I have saved. And if you look here, that is what I have going on in my budget. My house savings got over $3,000 this month, which was 73.3% of what I saved. Next, I had my sinking funds, which got $620. The 2022 challenges got $254. My 52-week challenge got $10. My $5 challenge got $175, which was wild for me to see. But I think I know a big part of that was something very odd that happened like right at the beginning of the year, where I ended up getting like $50. I ended up getting change back, and $50 of it was in $5 bills. And then my emergency fund got $40. So that was how all of my savings broke down this month. And to me, this makes sense. This aligns with what my goals are, which is really great. The last of the Where Did My Money Go worksheets is the monthly savings comparison. And this is where you're able to compare last month to this month to make sure that those little changes that you want to make in your budget are actually happening. It does ask for your monthly inflow change up top. And the reason I didn't put anything in there is, one, I cannot find my December 2021 budget worksheets. I don't know where I put them. And then also, two, inflow would basically be what income was in 2021. So that's not really an issue. It's more that I couldn't find my sheets. So I didn't put that up there, but I did have my totals here, and I had them from quickly glancing at one of my other videos. I didn't have my percentages because I didn't figure them out last month. I made an error and I did not go back and fix it. So all I have is my totals. That's okay. That to me is the most important part. Some of the things that I really was looking out for is that I wanted to spend less in eating out, I wanted to spend less in miscellaneous, and I wanted to spend less in miscellaneous bills. That was the key things for me. I didn't reach all of those goals, but I reached some of them. So I did spend less in groceries by almost $100. Eating out, I was over. I spent $188.80 in December, and this month I spent $192.63. So over by about $4. Gas, I was over compared to last month, but I'm not surprised about that. Gas prices are continuing to rise. I was under in miscellaneous by almost $300, $287, which to me was definitely a win. That's always a win for me. So I was really happy about that. Miscellaneous bills. I was out of control with miscellaneous bills in December. $1,613. That is a lot of money. So I really, really wanted to be under in that this month, and I was. I only spent $245, and so I was under by $1,367 in that category. For savings, I did save less this month. I saved less by $1,386. That's not what you want. You want to be saving more and more every month. But part of the reason why I save less is because I did get a bonus in December 2021, and that bonus went straight to savings. So that's why this savings total was so high. Utilities, I spent more this month by about $18. Housing was right on, and then for giving, I was over budget, which I'm not upset about. I think that's a good thing. One of the last things I did want to share with you all with regards to this budget this month is my no spend tracker. So this is a free printable that the Budget Mom has on her free resource library, and I really love the design of it. So I decided to use it for my no spend this month. I did share this with you all at the beginning of the month and talked about how I had some rules for myself and some exceptions for myself. And as you can see, I did fairly good. So I spent 4 days out of the month. I made an error initially, but I did spend $30 on the 14th. The 15th was the day that I ordered a bunch of takeout and ordered wine that I picked up from a local winery, and so I ended up spending $139, almost $140. On the 21st, I spent $45, and actually it wasn't planner related, but it was office related. I needed a couple of different types of printer paper, and that's why I ended up spending money on that day. And then on the 28th, I spent $30, and I cannot remember why, to be totally honest. This 36, I can't remember why either. Ooh, I should probably look back and figure out why I spent money on those days, but I feel like overall this is not bad. I feel like I did pretty good. And it's definitely something I would do again. I don't want to do it for the month of February. I don't want to do it for the month of March, so maybe it's something that I'll attempt to do like quarterly. Like every quarter I'll pick a month and do a no spend for that month. I think April would be a really good month to do a no spend in, April or May. So be on the lookout for that later on in the year. I'm thinking quarterly is a good idea. And then I don't really have anything else to share. I mean, I do have my my just general worksheets in the back of my budget. And so I did fill in that I saved $254 towards the 2022 savings challenges. And I do have my 52-week challenge worksheet here. This is a worksheet that I made. It does go with the 52-week challenge cash envelope that I have, which I actually think I have right here. Yeah, so these two go together. They're in my Etsy shop. The link to my Etsy shop is in the description box below. And then I do have my $5 challenge worksheets back here. I currently have $550 in there. I have a bunch of these. I printed out too many. I do have to fill in my net worth tracker. I forgot that I have to fill that in back here. I do have my credit score for January. Today is February 1st, so I am going to figure that out today. And then I do have my goals worksheet, which I'm using to mark off my savings goals towards my house savings. And I did reach my goal this month. There was actually 31 flowers and I saved $3,000, so I was able to fill in 30 of them. I actually saved a little bit over that, so I filled in part of that last one. And so I'll be doing the same thing for February, but that is it. That's pretty much it for this month's recap. I hope you all enjoyed this recap. I do think it was overall a good month. I'm happy with the progress that I made towards my house savings. I'm happy with all that I saved into other savings challenges. If you have any questions or comments about the way that I close out my budget or how I use the Budget by Paycheck Workbook to help me do so, please do not hesitate to put any comments down below. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.